So imagine you finally got the opportunity to go out with Thomas. Let's call this imaginary person Thomas, right? Everybody has talked about Thomas. You know Thomas is a fantastic guy, or at least that's what people say. And finally, tomorrow night you'll have the opportunity to do so. Okay, so as you are, imagining, picturing the night you are going to have tomorrow, you have this sense of expectation, of excitement. Okay, and then finally the day comes, you go to a restaurant with him, and while you are there having dinner, you pick up your cell phone and half talking to him, you also, try to see if you can find his social media. You can't, because Thomas doesn't have any social media, so you start talking to people, through WhatsApp and other social medias about Thomas, right? Because you are really interested in Thomas and you want to know more things about him, all right? So Thomas is kind of telling you about his life, or whatever interesting thing Thomas has to say, and you are like this. This is my cell phone, by the way. I don't know where my cell phone is, so pretend this is my cell phone. So you are like, nice. Right? I think you have had this experience before, right? Then the question I would ask you is, why are you talking to people about Thomas? If Thomas is there right in front of you, why don't you just turn off the damn cell phone and pay attention to Thomas, right? Okay, so maybe you're asking me, why are you talking about Thomas? Who is Thomas? And what does my, love life, have that it's of your interest, In other words, none of your business. The point is, that's exactly how we very often treat literature, okay? So you are a TC student, maybe you are not, but the fact is, in our book here, you have some passages, right? You have an introduction by CCA, so this introduction is like a person who knows Thomas. And then you have, this very small moment, oh, by the way, in my illustration, you're going to have this dinner with Thomas, and then you'll go home, right? So you have this very small moment where you're going to have the opportunity to talk directly to Thomas, right? This is the passage of our books where, this is the part of our books where you have the passages, right? Why would you keep on going on the internet? Why would you keep on getting videos about that passage? Why would you keep on reading things about that passage when you have the opportunity to have very close contact with Thomas, right? Am I prohibiting you from doing that? Of course not. Of course not. But you can only talk about Thomas if you have already given Thomas all the attention he needs, Let's translate Thomas, right? So I get my book. Where's my book? I get my book here, right? So I read the very nice introduction about, for example, Romanticism and Poetry, chapter 6, Edgar Allan Poe, right? Romanticism and Poetry. And then you have part of the poem, The Raven. I think God helped me open, because I open it randomly, and it's going to be a very nice example for my illustration here. Okay, so I kind of read The Raven, and there are many obscure parts there. And then some of the words I look up for the meaning, other words I don't. Some of the words I know the meaning, because, for example, I have used one of the Quizlet lists, and But even so, in the context, they're kind of strange. So I kind of read this small passage of the Raven I have here, and I say, okay. And then I go to the internet, and I see a small video about a person who read the Raven, and then another one, and then I read something, and then I take a look at some analysis, and it's that's all fine. But do you know the Raven enough as to get other people's opinion, right? Are you really interested in Thomas, or are you just interested in superficially talking about Thomas? In other words, do you want to know Thomas, or do you want to gossip? Okay, that's exactly the kind of behavior we may have in relation to literature, right? It's like, you know, I read, let's say, Dom Casmurro. There were many obscure parts, and then I spent my whole life reading articles about Dom Casmurro. I spent my whole life, you know, hearing what people have to say about Dom Casmurro, but I never visit Dom Casmurro again. After all, I have already read Dom Casmurro. So, you know, shouldn't you, like, set another date with Thomas and try to understand him directly? In practical terms for our course, again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go and look for videos and extra material, but first I will make sure I understand everything I can from the poem. Okay? Of course, maybe I think the comparison won't hold now. Okay? Maybe there is one word or one expression that is obscure, that even going to the dictionary I don't understand. So you come to me, your teacher, right? I can help you there if I can, or we can go to the net, and then other people have talked to Thomas before, and they understand the specific vocabulary Thomas used. Again, as I said, I don't think the comparison will hold much longer. But the point is, one thing is, I'll go to the net to search for one specific expression or part that for me was very hard. But again, I will take the interaction on my own hands once that doubt is solved, and then I will again try to have the direct contact with Thomas. Okay? The other thing is, I don't understand this line, a specific line here, so just go to the internet, and then I ask people to tell me about Thomas. Look, I'm not saying that those people don't have an accurate idea about Thomas, you know? Maybe what they're going to tell you is very accurate, but shouldn't you have a direct contact, okay? So what do I propose here, guys? If you want to follow my advice, I'm proposing here a sense of order. Let's get specifically the Raven, okay? I'm going to read the entire Raven, and then I'm going to look up for all the words. I'm going to use the Quizlet to help me there, and then I'm going to read it again. And then I'm going to try to identify parts that are obscure, and I don't tell myself that they are obscure, you know? We do that all the time. We kind of just read through and expect we don't realize we are lying to ourselves. So I'll identify those parts, and I'll think about those parts, and I'll think again. And maybe I'm very interested in the Raven, right? Oh, maybe I say, oh, wow, this is a very nice poem, okay? So what am I going to do? I'm going to get, look, the passage we have of the Raven in our book is like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there are like 2 pages, you know, of the Raven. But the actual poem, you know, the actual poem is here, 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 yes. All of that, okay? At least 3 times longer than that. So maybe the next step, because, you know, I don't want to become a specialist in Edgar Allan Poe. I don't want to read many books. I don't have that much time. Okay, so you either don't have much time, and then you're just going to read it, and that's okay, or you have more time, and then you're going to read the entire poem. That's the logical continuation of that. And just then, just after you have read the entire poem, maybe you could talk to people about you know, this specific poem here. Okay? Why am I telling you this? Because it's common among us to have contact with literature secondhand, through gossiping, Again, I'm not saying that the work of a critic is not fantastic. It is. Many critics open our eyes to works, but you should have the meeting first, right? So what do I advise you? Oh, just before my suggestion. Why do we do that? Why do we prefer to, gossip about Thomas instead of having contact with Thomas? Because Thomas is a deep guy. And it's quite hard to talk to Thomas. It's quite challenging. So, on the one hand, you want to have, the merit of being friends with Thomas. On the other hand, Thomas tires you, So you do this something in between. This is what I think is, lying to the work, all right? So if you really like Edgar Allan Poe, read Edgar Allan Poe, okay? If you really, so let's imagine I really liked Edgar Allan Poe, so I read the entire poem, I read it again, and now I can understand it, and the poem is something real for me. But I'm still, in love with Edgar Allan Poe. Okay, so start with another short story, and then if that's fine, and then you read another one, and another one, and another one, and then just, once in a while, once in a very long while, you're going to get a small video, or you're going to talk to people about Edgar Allan Poe, but your main concern with Edgar Allan Poe would be direct contact with him. So that's my suggestion, alright? The passage, if you are a TC student, if not a small poem or a small short story, you like the guy, read another short story. You still like the guy, another one. Think about picking up a novel by this guy, okay? Even if it takes a lot of time. Of course, it will give you much more trouble, but then you will be able to say, I really am interested in Thomas, not in gossip about him.